My name is Waffles, and I'm a government whistleblower turned political commentator, and this is the last 24 hours in the news. Today is July 27th, 2025. It is currently 11:49 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I would still like to know where the $2 to $3 trillion that went missing from our federal agencies between 2020 to 2024 went. For the record, Mike Johnson was elected Speaker of the House on October 25th. 2023. He's been in charge of the House of Representatives at Congress since 2023. I read a whole book about money going missing from our federal agencies. Anyways, let's get on with the daily news. Here are the key U.S. news highlights from the past 24 hours. Security and Federal Affairs. A man scaled a gate at the U.S. Treasury building in Washington, D.C. on July 27th, leaving behind a suspicious package that was safely cleared. He was arrested for unlawful entry, prompting a security protocol review by the Secret Service. Trade and economic policy. On July 27th, the U.S. finalized a trade framework with the EU that lowers proposed tariffs on most EU goods to 15% instead of the previously announced 30%. The EU will also commit up to $600 billion in U.S. investment, particularly in energy and exports. Analysts warn that the deal maintains trade imbalances and lacks detailed enforcement provisions. Markets responded positively. Stock futures rose and the euro strengthened despite short-term relief. Experts caution that without solid implementation, trade friction may persist and economic gains remain uncertain. Foreign policy. President Trump, during meetings in Scotland, pledged continued U.S. humanitarian assistance to Gaza while criticizing Hamas for perceived inflexibility during hostage negotiations. He said Israel will have to make its own decisions regarding next steps in the conflict. Tech and national security. The Commerce Department is expected to conclude a national security review on semiconductor imports within 2 weeks. A ruling in favor of tariffs or new restrictions could reshape U.S. technology supply chains, especially impacting trade with countries like Taiwan. The stock market is not the economy. That's something important to remember. Remember, kids, the stock market is not the economy. Just because the S&P and Dow Jones goes up does not mean that wages are growing, jobs are secure, inflation is under control, or that people are thriving. All of those things are needed for a strong economy. Here's the hazardous weather outlook by region based on the latest 7-day forecast. Southeast and Mid-Atlantic, clustered heat advisories and extreme heat warnings remain active from central Florida through Virginia. Expect temperatures in the upper 90s and heat indexes between 105 to 115 degrees Fahrenheit, especially in cities like Atlanta, Charlotte, Raleigh, and Myrtle Beach. Overnight temperatures will offer little cooling relief. Midwest and Mississippi Valley, dangerous and prolonged heat continues with heat indexes near 110 degrees Fahrenheit or more, particularly over eastern Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota, and Missouri. St. Louis faces highs near 99 degrees Fahrenheit and heat index values of up to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. An enhanced risk, level 3 to 5 of severe storms in effect for southern and eastern Minnesota, far eastern South Dakota, and western Wisconsin. Storms may bring heavy hail, damaging wind gusts, and possible tornadoes later in the afternoon. Central and Great Plains flash flooding and storm-driven wind risks persist as thunderstorms develop along the edge of the heat dome. These storms could impact travel and outdoor safety in the next few days. Conditions from the northern high plains through the upper Midwest may shift to more scattered wet storms. Continue monitoring into midweek. Northeast and Mid-Atlantic, severe storms, including gusting winds and heavy rainfall, may move forward from Ohio Valley into the northeast late Sunday. Hazard potential includes localized flooding and disruption. Central Gulf Coast, slight risk of heavy rain and flash flooding into Friday through Saturday, especially in coastal parts of Mississippi and Louisiana, potentially impacting low-lying areas and roadways. South West and Southern Plains. The day 3 to 7 outlook flags extreme heat risk over the Southern Plains and Mississippi Valley, expanding eastward into week 2, July 26th through August 1st. Parts of Kansas face rapid onset drought risk due to dry soils and intense heat. Southern California coast may experience elevated wind threats, creating hazardous marine conditions. Extreme heat, stay hydrated, limit outdoor exposure, especially between noon and 4 p.m., and check on the elderly or vulnerable. Have a weather radio for severe storms or alert app. Avoid open areas during storms and stay indoors during peak risk hours. Flash flooding, never drive through flooded roads. Use local flood watches and evacuation plans. Strong wind and marine conditions. Outdoor items should be secured. Boaters should avoid small craft. Travel when advisory is issued. Here are the key international news highlights from the past 24 hours, drawn from trusted timestamped sources. Middle East and Gaza humanitarian developments. Israel announces temporary daily ceasefires in parts of Gaza. The Israeli military declared 10-hour pauses in operations each day from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. in areas including Al-Mawasi, Central Deir al-Balah, and Gaza City. These pauses are intended to allow humanitarian aid, food, medicine, and water to reach civilians. UN agencies and relief groups welcomed the move through reported difficulties distributing supplies persist. Tragically, at least 17 people were killed by gunfire while awaiting aid, and the Gaza Health Ministry confirmed 127 deaths from malnutrition, including 85 children since the war began. Iran and human rights. Iran executes 2 members of the MEK opposition group, Mehdi Hassani and Behrouz Hassani Islamlu, linked to the band Mujahideen-e-Khalq organization. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Were executed today. They were accused of launching homemade projectiles at civilian infrastructure and were convicted in 2024. Human rights groups, including Amnesty International, condemned the execution, citing allegations of torture, coerced confessions, and denial of legal counsel, calling the trial grossly unfair. Iran's execution rate has reached at least 901 in 2024, the highest since 2015. Overreaching themes and context. Humanitarian pauses in Gaza signal international pressure, but also highlight the failure of existing aid strategies as civilians continue to suffer amid conflict. Also, there was a boat of some people who were trying to bring aid out to Gaza. It appears something happened to them. I'm not sure what's going on with that. I'm limited in the amount of time that I have to go through everything. Iran's capital punishment increase underlines widespread concerns about due process, political suppression, and the use of the death penalty against dissidents. This post came from Jacob Burger Actor. And my understanding is that there was a boat full of people attempting to bring aid to the civilians in Gaza. This post came from World Peace Berlin, World Peace Day. They have 123.7k followers. I don't know what's going on with this boat stuff, but I've seen a lot of it. Okay, here we go. Occupation forces intercepted the Handala Freedom Flotilla boat, whose only mission was to feed starving children in Gaza. So there's something going on with that. The name of the boat is Handala Freedom. So I've seen quite a bit of footage in regards to that. It seems people are concerned, but I'm not sure what's going on with that. So that's also part of today's news. And this is the daily news provided to you by Waffles Mcgrawl. It is now 7:28:25. It is July 28th. It's 12:02 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and I'm going to get the hell out of here. I need to get my sleep schedule back on track.
So the Olympics is great. And Johnny, for the others, you know, the World Cup, Johnny is the head of it. We had our top people, Wasserman. They all came in on the Olympics, and then I saw Johnny. And we got the World Cup, too. And, you know, it's only because they rigged the election that I'll be your president representing you there. You know, I got both of them. I got the Olympics, and I got the World Cup. And I said, you know, it's too bad. One was in 2026 and the other was in 2028. And I said, I won't be there. I won't be your president. But then they rigged the election, and now we won, so I'm going to be your president for the Olympics and for the World Cup. So, Johnny, thank you for the World Cup, and everybody, thank you for the Olympics. We're going to have a great time.
Hey guys, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment to my videos. And also, don't forget to check out my shop where you could get this awesome Real Patriots Punch Nazis t-shirt. America, fuck yeah! And if you go to the link tree in my bio on most platforms, it's got links to everything, all of my stuff. You can find my shop there. I'm on eBay. You can also get this cool Exterminate MAGA sticker, because MAGA's fucking cockroaches. And fuck MAGA. Abolish MAGA. Fuck you, MAGA.